This is Brian Dawkins, 6'2" junior for Reigns.
To be honest with you, I did not really like football. I liked playing it, I couldn't watch it. I was more of a basketball fan at that time. But when I went out and tried it, I really enjoyed it. My dad was a coach and played football in the neighborhood. My brother played football.
He was a very good athlete, and you're blessed with that. See, that's something you don't train for that. He was blessed with that.
You know, it's something about that competition and being out there and doing the things that I had done in the neighborhood. Now you're doing it more organized. And something to do as well. Like, I had a lot of energy, and I was doing some dumb stuff around the house sometimes to get in trouble, so my mom had to get me out of the house. And football was one of those things that kept me out of trouble, I guess. When I first started playing, I was playing offense. And so I was a quarterback. My offensive line wasn't the best, so I asked could I go to running back to give me a little more time to make somebody miss if they get through. And he let me go to running back. And I played running back, and then from time to time, I would have to play on defense. So I would play both ways from time to time, or a lot of times, to be honest with you.
You guys know who these are. Brian Dawkins, Lilo Shepherd, Mr. Harold Carmichael.
I mean, Harold was one of the beginnings of the guys.
All of us had an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl.
Before me, there was a list of guys, number of guys that had gone on to play in college, but there are others like Harold that went on to play in the league. So it was a rich tradition. Like, Reigns was a place, and still is a place to this day, that teams come down to make sure they look at the talent that is there. When I got to Reigns, I played JV first of all. I was on the JV squad and was having a lot of fun. Playing both ways. I was playing middle linebacker and playing running back, and that lasted for about 4 games. And I got called up to varsity. And during that time, I think is where they recognized how aggressive I was and what I can do. And so that next year, I asked the coach, because he wanted me to play running back. He was like, you can really play running back. And I was like, I don't really like running back that much. I really want to play defense.
At junior high, he broke his leg being a running back. And from then on, he didn't want to be a running back anymore. He wanted to give the lick than to receive it. It was better to give a lick than receive it.
Moving over to defense for him, I felt like probably was the better choice. You kind of seen that elevation of him once he moved to the safety position. He was a ball hawk. He was a leader of that defense, and he was a guy that was going to bring it in that secondary. When those guys got in that secondary running the football or catching it, he was going to bring that pain now.
Probably got some looks like junior year. And so I remember my first letter was like for Notre Dame. They had it delivered to the class. And I looked at it, like, is that Notre Dame I see? I said, hey, that's Notre Dame. So I was, I was hyped, getting letters from Notre Dame. They weren't recruiting me. They just sent me a letter. It was like a questionnaire. But in my mind, they were recruiting me. And then I began to get a whole lot more letters. And I got phone calls from a couple of schools. I wasn't really highly recruited. I think a lot of those things was, once again, Reigns is a high bed for talent. And they got hold of my name some type of way and wanted to send me a questionnaire or something like that. During that time, the team that I wanted to go play for was the Florida Gators. And I was going to be a Gator. I had already had my Gator chop and all that stuff set, and how I was going to go about celebrating after I make big plays for the Gators. But I didn't do what I was supposed to do in the classroom. And my grades weren't where they needed to be, and I wasn't a big enough recruit for them to hold on to that scholarship. So I lost that scholarship. That was devastating for me. And so worked my behind off to get my GPA up. And then the other team that was really interested was South Carolina. And so I was trying to get in contact with South Carolina to tell them, okay, I want to take the scholarship offer there. I couldn't get in touch with anybody, right? And so that night, I talked to Patrick Sapp.
And he called me. He was kind of in a panic, to be quite honest. And it just hit me at that point. I said, you know what, brother? I said, man, if I go to Clemson, would you go to Clemson with me? He's like, heck yeah. If they give me a scholarship, man, I'm there. And I called and I said, Coach, look, I'm gonna commit to Clemson, but one thing, I want Brian to come to Clemson with me. And at that moment, he said, it's a done deal. And I called Brian and told him.
So basically what he did was he called and he basically tells them that if I come to Clemson, Brian has to come with me. I didn't know that. I thought they really liked me. I thought I was coming there, they offered me a scholarship. I'm all hyped. And I didn't find this out, and this is crazy. I didn't find this out till like 5 years ago. So this whole time, I'm thinking that, I'm that dude and, Clemson wanted me and I went there. Nope, Clemson wanted him and they brought you along with.
So no, you're right. He didn't find out until some years later that, that's really how he got to Clemson. But I could tell you what, I thought he knew it because he came here with attitude now.
The way I play is I try to hurt people, and the way they play is they try to hurt people. So I think that me going there was a good decision for me.
But, I didn't care. Like, I just knew that I was going to go there and do some damage and earn my way onto the football field. Like, I had such success in the way that I was playing, the game that I played, physical brand, my movement skills, the way that I can run. And I wasn't the biggest of players, but you couldn't tell it by the way that I played.
One thing about Brian was this, he had a laser focus. And a lot of people might took him for undersized, but he played big, always played big. And he was a focused individual, focused player, quiet off the field, but he was a different player on the field.
I think that gave me an indication that, with my skill set, that I have a possibility of playing on the next level. And that was the end of my sophomore year. So that is when I really recognized, not only can I play at this level, that I can play on the next level too.
Let's go to Sal Paolantonio in Baltimore. Sal?
Hi, Chris. I just got off the phone with Jeff Lurie, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. He says they're going to take a safety with this pick, Brian Dawkins of Clemson, an honor roll student who they think can step in there for Greg Jackson and play some safety, probably a little free safety, maybe a little switch off with Mike Jordan, a little strong safety, but he's the pick for the Philadelphia Eagles.
So that story is crazy, and I didn't know it until I started this Hall of Fame talks. I had no indication that Philadelphia Eagles really liked me. So they knew me, they wanted, but they kept everything quiet. And nobody knew that they truly wanted and they really liked me.
I had seen Brian down at Clemson and thought he was a heck of a good football player. And just knowing what we were going to be looking for, we took a very good liking to him. Great leadership, hard work. And I remember telling Emmett Thomas, who was our defensive coordinator, I want you to take a real good look at this youngster, Brian Dawkins. This is the guy that I like for us, but I wanted him to make the final decision. Because number one, we're talking about DBs, and I don't think that anybody knew any more about DBs other than Ray Rhodes and Emmett Thomas. And everybody was on board with Brian Dawkins being our guy.
Like I had no clue. Nobody did. And I think the story goes that they didn't want people to know that they were high on me as a potential draft pick.
And that was part of the strategy, we certainly had seen him. He knew who we were because, and at the Combine, we had a real good interview with him. Ray loved him, and Emmett was very happy with him and so forth. But as I said, when we left the Combine, we knew this was our guy.
He looks, he fires, it is intercepted. Intercepted by Dawkins. He's being dropped, the football is loose. He was hit by Brian Dawkins on the blitz.
The transition from being a newlywed to a father to a professional football player to the breadwinner for a family and all the pressures that come along with all those things. As men, we don't do a good job of telling what's going on with us. We don't. We keep things bottled up and we think we can handle it. We tough it up. And so I had that same mindset of, I'm gonna deal with this. I don't need nobody to deal, I'm gonna deal with this myself. But I didn't know how to. And so all that stuff began to mount pressure. And so anger turns to rage, turns to depression, turns to drinking, and all those things mixed together. So now you have to find an outlet. And so I was finally talked into doing that, but by my wife and Emmett Thomas.
Connie had expressed to me some of the things that he was going through, but I knew, family was a struggle for him at that time, but I knew he was strong enough to make it through. And I'll say this about Connie Dawkins, she helped him out a lot. She's been that rock for him, and no doubt in my mind, he would not have the career that he's had and the success if he would not have had Connie next to him. She definitely helped him out through a lot of that.
And through that process, my faith and my relationship with God began to take over. And I began to trust in him more because I had less voices in my head, and I trusted my faith. And I stopped drinking beer, which I loved at the time. And that was my oath. Like, I will not consume any more of that. I will live my life for you, but that won't touch my lips again. And I have not taken a sip of beer or like vodka or any of those things since my rookie year.
He is our new head coach.
As you know, Ray Rhodes was a tremendous football coach. That part's history, and now we're going forth. This is the future right now. Everybody in here has to understand that. And so we don't get into the Ray Rhodes factor, we're moving on. And now we're into the Andy Reid factor here.
Well, I was lucky enough to be around Ron Wolf and at the Packers, Hall of Fame general manager. And when I took the job, he goes, you've got your best player on your football team is this guy named Brian Dawkins. I said, a safety? And he goes, yeah, your safety is a beast. I mean, you wait and see.
First of all, hallelujah! Whatever you got to say, let me get that. Can y'all feel that? Can you feel that thing that's moving out your doggone hands? That thing is beating your doggone chest right now. Can you feel what's about to happen on this field, man? That's what we gonna do all freaking day and everything. Give me what you got. Domination, snot bubbles, crazy eyes, whatever. Let's dominate this thing.
On the field, he would always make sure the guys that's around him played at a high level. He didn't talk about being a leader, he was a leader.
Brian didn't say much. He did it by example, and then if somebody was out of line, he'd tell them. And because he was so matter of fact and quiet, when he talked, people listened.
My philosophy has been for a long time that I will never ask you to do something that I have not already done or am not willing to do. And so if I ask you to do something, that I've either done it or I will do it, period. And so that's how I try my best to lead. And I try my best to be sensitive to those times that I maybe need to speak up more. Then I will speak up more. If I'm not needed, we got it. Other guys got it.
And then, I tell you what, I'm gonna give all the credit to Michael Vick. We give him enough respect, but nobody respected us as a defense. Give me some respect right now.
Hello. Hey, Brian, this is David Baker from the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Where are you at?
Well, I'm in my room in the Radisson Mall of America.
Well, I hope you're ready because you're going to be moving to Canton, Ohio for the rest of time. Congratulations.
So I made it.
You've made it, brother. You are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame for all of time. Congratulations, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is time to put your hands together and call Eagles great Brian Dawkins a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, glory, 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 glory. Hallelujah! Glory, hallelujah!
I can't tell you that there has been a time in my life that I have reflected more than I have the last couple of months and looked back over my life so many things and so many people and so many decisions that I made that could have gone tragically wrong, that could have been detrimental, that were wonderful for me. And had I not made it into the Hall of Fame, would I have done that? But for me, I've reflected so much over my life, and you've been again to see glimpses of things that I didn't recognize back then that, you know, it makes more sense now. And I'm so blessed to be able to look back over my life from where I stand right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Brian Dawkins for enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Troy Vincent.
As you look on my shirt, it says blessed by the best. And throughout my life, the Lord has blessed me with so many individuals. So if it was up to me, Hall of Fame, this is what I would do. I would like to put every last one of the individuals that I told you was special in my life in my jacket somewhere. So every time that I put this thing on, it reminds me visually and emotionally that I did not do this by myself, because I did not do this by myself. I did not. Sal, peace out. You were that dude. I wanted to come get you, brother. I wanted to supplant you to be that dude. I want to thank Ray Rhodes, Mr. John Wooten, for believing in me, bringing me. I want to thank Mr. Jeffrey Lurie. Thank you for bringing me to the Philadelphia Eagles. Emmett Thomas. All right, Emmett, I want to thank you. That blessed by the best, yes, I've been blessed, and he's one of the best that I'm talking about. So, Emmett, thank you. Then there's the late, great Jim Johnson. Jim, thank you. Thank you. Andy Reid, I want to thank you for believing in this smallest safety as well. You trusted me to lead. My mom, you want to know where the fighter in me come from? Yeah, that's my mom. My dad, he showed me what a man is supposed to be. My kids. Last but not least is my beautiful bride, Connie. The blessed by the best, once again. The other part of me being here is because of that woman, because of Connie, because of you. But what I want to present to you, sweetheart, is something golden as well. So can we get that out real quick? Yes. Could you stand up, sweetheart? Can you put that gold veil on right there? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's my Hall of Fame wife right there. Yes, sir. That's my Hall of Fame bride right there. Yes. And finally, thank you, Heavenly Father, and I can't wait to see what you're gonna do with me next. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
When you're unique in this profession, I mean, you're talking about 32 free or strong safeties in the National Football League, and he did it for all those years, and he was the best. And so with that, you are rewarded with the opportunity to be in the Hall of Fame. And for him to be in the Hall of Fame, that's where he belongs.
It's hard to believe. Nobody could tell me that one day, say, you're going to have a boy to go to the Hall of Fame. But I'm thankful for his blessing.
I was emotional that night because, man, I saw the work that he put into his craft, into his body. I saw the sacrifices that he made. So to see him get the highest honor in football, I mean, to me it was the culmination of everything.
The crazy thing and the great thing about this is that because of the faith that I live under, what I believe is that the best days are yet to come on what I'm about to do. And I was trying my best to increase and get better. I wanted to be as good as I can be. Well, that dude is still living inside of me. So I still want to increase. I still want to get better and share that with other people. I want to share that with individuals. And it has nothing to do with football. Has nothing to do with sports. It has to do with life. This is a life thing for me. And so, yes, blessed to have had a career that I've had in the National Football League. Blessed. But the life that I have yet lived in these next however long before I go home to be with the Heavenly Father, I will continue to grow and I will continue to give. And me growing is increase, and me giving is increase. And that's what I plan on doing going forward, is living in increase.